So our main purpose obviously is to serve our students with disabilities, whether it is physical, mental. We serve a lot of our vets that just came back from the war that have PTSD, and then we do a lot of assistive technology and those types of needs for our students. So that's our main purpose. We're here for our students. That's why we're the Student Disability Services Office. Students definitely have to be the ones that advocate for themselves to come find us. We don't go find them.
That's what we do. So our job is more than just the paperwork. It's behind the scenes doing a lot and keeping up with the laws and trying to make sure that we get that information out to faculty and staff. But we love it when you come to us or call us and have questions and stuff. Never take a student's word for it. It's not like high school where you can go to a student and say, okay, we might have to test you or whatever. In college, you can't even say, do you have a disability? They have to self-disclose. So you have to be really careful on the wording that you use when you are talking to somebody. If they're saying, I'm really struggling, I've struggled all my life, you don't want to say, well, do you have a disability? You want to say something like, why do you think you struggle? How did you handle this before in school, in the school atmosphere? Anything like that that can kind of maybe draw out.
Yeah. I think another hard thing is, and the sad reality to it is, some of our students don't even know that they were on an IEP or a 504 plan because their parents never wanted them to know. So when they come in and we do the initial interviews with them to ask them why you're here, what you're here for, we have them fill out an application and kind of tell us what their needs are. Some of them have no idea what to write at all. If their parents aren't there, they're like, why am I here? And so I think that's the biggest struggle, and I think that's why sometimes they're afraid to go straight to their instructor when they are struggling. Yeah, if a student self-discloses, please don't ever take their medical documentation, because sometimes they'll try to give it directly to the instructors. And it's been, they come to our office and they're like, we gave it to our English 101 instructor who said they gave it to this person, and we're like, that never happened because we don't know. And so we tell them never to even give it to one sub, or sometimes they try to turn it in with their transcripts and stuff, but we like to just get it directly to our office so it doesn't get lost, and just to protect their confidentiality.
And we have like an intake meeting where we ask them, we don't just take their paperwork and all of a sudden, woo, they have accommodations. We go through a series of questions and evaluations so we can see kind of where they are and what kind of needs that they would need in school to be equal.
When students ask for a translator or an interpreter, that the only type of interpreting we do is sign language interpreting. So people get that mistaken a lot.
We do scribe, so maybe one day if you have scribe for the students that qualify for that service.
Oh, yeah. If you do like an essay quiz or a test, we scribe for them. That is an awesome question, because we don't specify, and maybe because our forms change we can now, but before, when we just had one form with all of the accommodations that they get, and it says extended testing time, or they get this or they get that. And for example, for an English class or a class that doesn't give out tests, that's not going to count in that class. But for everything that's applicable to your class, you're going to use that on the form. Now, if there's anything that you have a question with, we definitely ask instructors to call us, which is why all our information is on the form.
So when we look at each student, we look at their capabilities, their disability, their diagnosis, the class that they're taking, how it might affect them, and then that's how we set accommodations.
The thing with their testing accommodations, and majority of students are going to have that they get to take it at a distraction-reduced setting, and we do that for because a lot of times they ask for it, but sometimes we do it on the instructor's behalf too, because you guys don't have extra time to stay there for them. But if they specifically say that they can't take a test in your classroom and they need to come see us, or if they need a scribe or it to be audio taped or have a reader, then they have to come and get the testing accommodations, and the TPRF has to be filled out. Are you talking about for notes, or are you talking about for tests?
Yeah, notes.
Okay.
Oh, for notes, yes.
So for notes, this semester we started a new process, which was it's still like a student volunteer system, but at the end of the semester, the students got a $25 gift card. That wasn't written on their accommodations. We said it at in-service and kind of spread the word that way and told our students. And we put, and like you are right, when a student comes and they see us, we tell them all of the information that they need. Then it's the instructor's responsibility to say out loud and make an announcement and say, we need to have a note taker for this class. If nobody, I had an instructor say that they didn't feel comfortable announcing that, so they emailed everybody, and then he got more response that way, which was awesome. And then that note taker is required to come and see us, and they sign a note-taking contract. So there's two forms that the note taker signs through us, and then if you have absolutely nobody that can take notes for the student, then we ask the instructor to provide notes for the student.
And then for the scribe for test, only Heather or I or somebody from the assessment center would scribe for a test. We never have other students or
a work study or anything?
No, because we make sure that we maintain the confidence of the test, the security of the test. So, and basically what we do, so you know what we do when we scribe, is we read the questions to the student, and then the answers, A, B, C, D, E, or whatever, or if there's no answer, we read the question, they tell us, we write it down, and then we reread the answer to them, and then they tell us if that's what they said or if they want to change it or anything. And we go back and forth. So this is a long process.
Yeah. So basically, as a community college, we are mandated by Section 504 to provide equal access to all of our students who are deaf and hard of hearing. So yes, as an instructor, it is your responsibility to make your online class or brick and mortar class accessible to all of your students proactively rather than reactively. So the biggest thing that I was really excited, and I don't know how instructors feel about this, but I checked out library resources, and their on-demand video option is amazing. But if you go to the advanced search on the on-demand option, you can click to use videos that are just that are already pre-captioned. So we've been really lucky for the 2 years that I've been here, because we have pretty amazing understanding students. They're our guinea pigs. So our deaf students and our blind student, right now we only have one blind student, where Terry just got a married couple that's going to be starting soon. So we're getting more blind people wanting to come to our college, so we have to be really on top of our assistive technology for our blind students, for our deaf and hard of hearing students. Something that I just put in for faculty, because I want you guys to feel like you have support and you're backed up. I mean, I think the biggest question was, well, whose responsibility does it lie on? Is it Student Disability Services? Is it faculty? It really relies on you as an instructor, and your department is supposed to be backing you in this. But I mean, definitely, I want to be here as a resource for you guys and for support. As a community college, and through the state, right now, us and CSI have the most deaf and hard of hearing students because we're affordable. So we have about like 7 to 9 each semester that come, and that's a high number, because there's universities with 22,000 people that have like 2 deaf students. So we can definitely give you the heads up. It seems like that's what instructors are asking for. So all around, yeah, I think that would be a good practice for our office to do that. Right. It says whether or not you have a student that has a disability that's deaf or hard of hearing in your class will be accessible. This is to save you in the future, and this is happening nationwide. I mean, Terry and I read stories about it every day in our listserv.
Pearson thought they had accessible, and Boise State challenged them, and they realized,
awesome.
Yeah, they realized, because they went through it step by step with Boise State on the phone, and they actually were like, you guys are just crazy, more or less. And they went step by step and realized when they got to the point where it was no longer that they could use it. So they have a team working on that right now, and Boise State's following along really closely, and then we've been in contact with Boise State. So hopefully, because we use my math lab, my student success lab, my Spanish lab, my A&P lab,
Chemistry, chemistry.
Yep, so we use all those, so we are trying to stay on top of it. Right now, the only other options are if one of us transcribed or something, you'd have to have some kind of alternative paper stuff or something. I did have a teacher this semester that he inputs for the student, for the things, and then he did a separate test and then his. But until we find Pearson gets accessible or something, if you're gonna use Pearson, it's just what we have to do because we can't be sued.
Right.
I mean, because we have to be fully accessible. That's why Boise State is on Pearson because they use the same programs. That's why we're following closely because we don't want the instructors have to do any more work. We don't want to do any more
the
work.
solution isn't to like just not go with Pearson.
Right.
We have some instructors that just refuse to use that online tool, like the lab. I don't know whether instructors want to do that or not. So, or if you guys heavily rely on that, like those are the things like why I want to have this committee to know if that's something that you guys really heavily rely on. No, it's not something that we're just going to get rid of because nationwide that's one of the highest used companies, the most used companies.